Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we'll be doing the 86 Autobots review. And if you're wondering why Ultra Magnus isn't here, I already have him in a separate review, of which I'll be linking down in the description and in the pinned comment below, along with all my other reviews and such. So just check it out if you want to, hear my opinion on either on both Kingdom Ultra Magnus and on Commander 86 Ultra Magnus, which will be appearing in this review because I got rid of my other Ultra Magnus. But I have all the comparisons there. So, yeah. So, let's get on with this one. So, as you see before you, who have all the original Autobots of the 86 crew. I'm not including Wreck-Gar in this because he technically doesn't have an Autobot logo on him anywhere. And while he was associated with the cast for the rest of Season 3, I feel like he's more of a bot for hire that's just somehow stuck with the rest of the group because of Weird Al's performance. So, yeah. So, here we have Arcee, Cup, Hot Rod, Blur, Springer, and then Rodimus Prime. So, yeah. So, all five of these guys right here are from Studio Series. This one's from Kingdom, so it shouldn't be that hard getting this guy. I know he goes for pretty cheap on the aftermarket because, annoyingly, a lot of people were disappointed in that the previous two commanders we got, both the Skylynx and Jetfire, were both like bigger bots, and we get what is essentially what people describe as a leader class with a trailer. But then again, this is a really good toy. It just sucks that many people discount on the fact that, it's not, as big as the previous ones, even though size at this point doesn't really matter. So, yeah. So, before we continue, let's just do some quick comparisons, at least in size, compared to their counterparts of the film, that being Servants of Unicron, Galvatron, Scourge, and Cyclonus. So, let me back the camera up a little bit. So, there you have them, compared to their Decepticon counterparts. It's an upper shot. So, and honestly, with the announcement of a new 86 Galvatron, I might get that because, don't get me wrong, this shade of purple, not bad. The metallic blue purple, though, that makes it just look... It's the same mold as this, but I like the colors a bit more. If I see it, I might get it. If I don't see it, then I'm content with this, but I'll want to find if I can get the newer version. And also, we need a new Cyclonus because the yellowing, which doesn't really show up that much on camera, you could see it, but it's not fully there. I feel like this guy needs a new Studio Series re-release, or at the very least, and then maybe some remolding instead of just a full repaint, because just to fix this weird gap issue that is there. And then Scourge here he's fine, he's a space boat. But yeah. Also, here is Wheelie, and here is Spike / Daniel. So there. Then also, quick Ultra Magnus, just so you can see everyone. So yeah. So let's get on to the transformation of Springer first, because he is a triple changer, and he's also the final bot that got released recently, and arguably has the most controversy about him, because he is a remold of his Siege counterpart to be more 86-like. And that's gotten people up in arms, which That's never an annoying thing in this fandom. But anyway, so let's get this guy. Let's get all these out of the way. And get him transformed. So, I'm just getting him off the stand. So, let's get him transformed. Actually, before we continue with the transformation, let's compare him to the only other Autobot triple changer that I have, that being Sandstorm, of which I have a review of him. So, yeah. So, difference between Earth helicopter and Cybertronian helicopter, I guess is the best way to describe it. Which ain't bad. Like, him being a heavy remold of the Siege version of this guy, he does get some carryovers, that being the original guns he had, but he does have his own gun, his own sword. The blades here also become a sword. He also comes with the "I got better things to do tonight than die" bomb, and an accessory that wasn't in the film, the Wrecker's Hammer. The ever so iconic Wrecker's Hammer. Yeah. So, he does come with a lot of stuff, which, in my personal opinion, as long as the figure itself is good and comes with a lot of fun stuff to at least mess with, I say he's a good figure. Now, the figure flubs on, like, essential pieces of articulation and is just honestly not that good of an experience to handle, then I honestly consider that a bad figure. But anyhow, let's get on with this. So, there's a quick little comparison. So, let me get this out of the way. And now let's get this guy into a car. Okay, first things first. Remove the guns here on the sides. You also combine them to make a even bigger gun. Take off the propeller, turn these inwards, and then just close the two blades up. And then, boom, you got another sword. Set that off to the side. And this is the main chunk that's going to be making up the car. So, start off with, move these little turbine things up, and then extend the arms out after untapping them from right here. Bring the arms down, rotate this all down, push it in, and then close all that up, and then we just put it all back. Rotate around, close it around, there we go, and bring all of this forward. We're not going to be tabbing it all together yet because we still need to move some stuff back here. So, untab the feet from this back panel here, and now we can fold all of this back, rotate this around, take this around, tab all of this, fold this around, and that around, close it all up. Now we can take the hip joints and then click them back into place like this, fold those up, rotate this around, tab it together, and then flip all of this around, making sure that you feed the heels here through to this side right here. So just like so. Bring all this back and tab it into place. Make sure that the feet fully connect to the tabs that they were in helicopter mode. Bring all this forward and then just tab it together. And then boom, here we have the car mode, which not much has changed. Well, a lot has changed, especially in the back here because we get extra wheels out of it. But as you can see, visually, not much up front has changed. Like, the two pylons essentially moved forward, and that's really it. Like, he's arguably the most simple triple changer because both of his modes being Cybertronian, helicopter, and car, it's not that hard to transition between them, especially I think that helps with the G1 toy. But yeah, so let's get some car comparisons. Here's Cup, Arcee, Hot Rod, Blur, and also there is Rodimus Prime, and, well, let me actually do this. And then Ultra Magnus. And also Wheelie, Spike / Daniel. Let's get that another big upward shot. So, yeah. So, considering he was remolded from a Voyager to a Leader, it's not that much bigger in, like, this mode compared to the rest. So, I'm honestly not that surprised. But then again, for most people, apparently it's not. Apparently it's the size and not how you use it. So, yeah. So, with his triple changing this out of the way, we are going to get started actually with get started with the deluxes here, and then move up to these guys and transform them into robot mode. So, yeah, also, but considering this bot has a lot of accessories, and as I showed off earlier, you can store a lot of them. You can store the gun here in the middle where the helicopter blade used to be, the guns here. You can go into the ports here on the sides, in the back. The helicopter blade can go into this port as well. The hammer, I guess, can go there. There's another sword. And then you can just throw the bomb here and then just throw it to the side, I guess. Because the only other place you're really storing it is right here on one of the tabs, thus leaving one weapon off. So, yeah. I mean, you can also store the hammer back here as well. Just show that off. Which is, it's storage, and honestly, I'm probably going to be giving either this hammer to someone else, and be putting this in a baggie, because, I mean, if the launcher that this went in was a real thing, that'd be kind of cool, but considering that doesn't exist, I don't really care. But this is also Blast Effect compatible, so if you want to make a diorama making it look like it fired off, then there you go. But considering I don't, this is probably going to go into an accessory baggie that I will probably forget about. So yeah. So let's get all of these guys out of the way. And then start talking. Let's talk about the deluxe we've technically talked about before, that being Blur. So, Blur looking like his classic G1 self with stuff that I forgot to transform. Like the little seat there, the futuristic like stripe, like flow that we got here. He doesn't have any wheels, which is fine considering he's probably meant to be a hover car, so it can still slide, which is nice. But yeah, I have technically reviewed this mold before, back in my Velocitron Blur and Override review. I don't know where that Blur is at the moment, so just getting this one for right now. So, yeah, considering he doesn't really have that much, and these are his only two accessories, his gun and the welding tool, which is fine. But, like, yeah, that's it. So, let's put this off the side and get the transformation. Start off with, flip this down, turn this entire section around, untab the arms from multiple spots. Do the same thing on the other side. Then you can untab the feet, bring these side chest pieces up, fold this around, fold all of this up. Bug. Sorry. All this around. Turn the wrist around, put the forearm kibble underneath there, and then boom. Do the same thing on the other side. There we go. And now we just work on the legs. Start off with untab, fold this all down, tab, fold the feet down, untab the legs, and then fold in the antenna here, which is meant to be the antenna on his head, I think. And also tab in the backpack. So, and there we have Blur in his robot mode. And honestly, it's not a bad robot mode. The one negative I have about this is the head. The head, in my opinion, looks a bit too... like, the face looks a bit too long. And also because of the fact that his entire back section there is light piping, his eyes look dead. I might go in there later and carefully disassemble this, or try to find a way to paint those eyes without having to, well, cover the white, which will suck. But yeah. So, this is a good mold. I say, like, if you're again, I can say this for all these figures here, that if you can get in, if you want an 86 collection, this is probably the best way to do it. Like, even though people are going to argue, like, why don't you use the, Takara Titan's Return version of this guy? And I'm not made of money. Like, I got these figures over the courses of years, and even then, it's like through sales and such. So, yeah, just get whatever you get. Your preference is your preference. I'm only just making a review out for the fun of it. So, yeah. So for articulation, we get a ball joint going down into the chest. Full rotation. Arms can go and do a full rotation as well. So arms can go out that far on what is essentially a double hinge. Kind of, sort of. Though, yeah, that's awkward. You have a bicep rotation. Elbows can bend into 90 degrees. Technically a wrist rotation, but for some reason you can't go the other way. Probably because of the hinge, actually. So you only can go like one way, and then again you have to move the entirety of the arm kibble, which I have seen people essentially cut it off right about here and then just glue it back here, which is what I did on my other, like, my IDW Blur. But considering this is meant to be the G1 incarnation, and these are supposed to be here, but they're technically supposed to be smaller, I'm just going to leave them here. Like, yeah, so let's take a look at his accessories. Or wait, actually, he has a waist rotation. Legs can go back pretty much all the way, and then forward all the way. Knees are at 90. Pretty good ankle pivot, and then some good, like, toe tilt, but then again, that's mostly for transformation. And it's also technically ratcheted, so if you get this guy in, like, a running pose, then it'll help stabilize him. Because he is meant to be the speedster of the group. So, yeah. So, first accessory he has is the welding tool he had during the Autobot City attack scene, trying to fix essentially everything around him, and talking in the fast talk that I can't replicate. So, yeah, I just tend to leave this accessory just attached here in its vehicle mode configuration, right there, because that's the only storage it has. And I just tend to display him with his regular rifle, which is this. So, which is not Blast Effects compatible, weirdly enough, even though they honestly could have made it. It's weird. But, yeah. So, from the fast talker to the fast young, well, the words escape me at the moment, but right now, here we got a old grumpy bot. Here we have Cup. This is specifically the Buzzworthy Bumblebee version, which omits the clear plastic and also correctly paints him in the correct color scheme. Why they didn't do this first baffles me. Like, I honestly don't understand. It's just weird. But, anywho. So, sorry. Pins and needles at the moment. Okay. So, first things first, the accessories comes with a gun and a little box of Energon goodies. Bana, Weep Grana, Weep Mini Bong. So, yeah. So, honestly, pretty accurate to the original movie design. It is a more Cybertronian pickup truck. That's what I've honestly seen it as described as. But let's get to transformation. So, first thing, bring out the feet. Then untab all this from the arms. Untab this, the legs from the front bumpers. Bring the panels down and also make sure to slide them out if I didn't do it already. This side, for some whatever reason, the pin ridges, I don't know if you can see that. Yep, you can see it. Like the pin ridges are visible, so trying to get this panel fully out requires a bit of work. If I could knock pins out, or if I knew how to, I would definitely try to do it on this one first, because this just sucks. Just let me get this fixed. Got it fixed. So, let me reattach this. And then fold this panel forward, or rotate that up, and there we go. There we have the legs all done. Let's bring all this forward. Untab the arms. And untab all this. And bring it all up. Fold the wheels inwards. Collapse all this and tab it into there. Fold the arms down, tab those together into the chest. Take the arms down, bring them forward, down, and forward. And here we have Cup in his robot mode. And honestly, I say for the deluxe pricing, I say this is a pretty good Cup. Like, the head itself, again, has that same problem of, well, a pretty long face, like Blur. But then again, this was in, I think, the same wave as Blur. Correct me in the comments. I don't remember. At least the original mold was. So, they were still trying to figure out how to do the 86 bots pretty well at a deluxe pricing for some of them. So, yeah. So, let's get on to articulation for this bot. So, articulation starts because he has a ball joint at the head going into the chest, just like Blur. If you want to, yeah. So yeah, the original version used to have light piping. That's what this little blue section is at the back of his head, but considering this is a version that omits all that clear plastic, he now has painted eyes, so you can see the weird, sad expression he has. Arms can do a full 360, can go all the way up that far. Has a bicep swivel, over 90 degrees of bend at the elbow, and nothing at the wrist. There is a waist rotation. Legs can go forward that far and can go back that far and can go out that far. There is a thigh swivel. Knees can bend to a little under 90. There is a good ankle bend and some toe articulation. So, honestly, this is a pretty good Cup figure. I do recommend trying to find this specific version of this guy because he is the more 86 accurate version of the guy. And also, you can rip him apart. Because in the movie, he gets disassembled by a giant robotic octopus. Then Hot Rod has to save him. So, yeah, and has to also rebuild him. So, yeah, this is interesting. The fact that this figure can do it, and they incorporate it into the articulation, is just kind of hilarious to me. But yeah. So let's get this guy rebuilt with all of them without leaving a screw loose. or a part in the wrong spot. But yeah, he can also hold his gun and also his little box of Energon goodies that he tries to give to the Sharkticons or the Alicons. I don't know, it's been a while since I watched the movie. But yeah. So let's move on to the last deluxe of this review, that being Arcee. And Arcee has had a troubled development when trying to get her into her G1 form, with her original G1 toy not coming out, and her only first G1 appearance being Thrilling 30 with that toy. And this is a heavy remold slash it is inspired by some of the tooling and engineering from that figure. So, yeah. And also, let's actually say that for the robot mode. So yeah, as you can see here, all the limbs is underneath, but compared to the Earthrise version, this one actually kind of transforms. But then again, a majority of it will be the backpack, and also this is her gun. So, yeah. Honestly, besides some tabbing issues that happens from time to time, this is honestly a pretty good G1 Arcee. I honestly don't know how they could improve on it without essentially redoing the entire design. And considering this is also deluxe, I don't know where they would put all of it. So, yeah, let's get this gal transformed. First things first, extend the entire lower body, rotate this around, rotate this forward, put the feet down, and there we have the entire upper robot girl walking. Which is kind of funny. There. Pull all this back, fold this down, fold this entirely back so that way you can fold all this around, fold this entire panel around, fold this piece down, and then you can fold these two shut. Collapse and accordion all this down to make the lower abdomen. Bring the arms down, just like that. Then bring the entire head and chest section down and around. Bring the entire chest down, tab it all in like this. And here we have Arcee in her robot mode. And oh boy, that backpack. This is something that has been a common problem of the G1 Arcee design, and honestly, I don't know how you can get around it. Because personally, unless you incorporate all of this extra stuff into the mass of the limbs, that is not going to be G1 accurate, because she had this like slender like form in the movie. It's an impossible task unless you're doing it like a masterpiece, and even then that one has a backpack. But if you take Arcee the character and put her into a different designed alt mode, she works. But she does not work as the four-wheeled car anymore unless you change the robot design as well. So, yeah. So, this gun and essentially the backpack here are mold carryovers from the Thrilling 30, because I think you could plug the gun up here on your shoulder, which you can do on this version, but I don't like doing that. And this is technically 5mm compatible, so I just tend to put it right on her hip. So yeah. That, or just give it to her. So, boom. And also, this is the common joke with Arcee's, but like she has like Princess Leia buns on the sides of her head. And I feel like that's something that that inspired the design of this character, kind of, sort of. Because this is like the first ever female Transformer. And honestly, for her first going outing, she's fine. She's good. I do feel like they've done better designs of her in the future. Better designs of her in the future with different alt modes. But honestly, if you want a G1, like, modern, like, deluxe Arcee, again, this is pretty much the best way to go, because I honestly don't know how they could change this without changing essentially the entire design of the robot mode. So yeah. And also, cool little feature, because this is not on a pinned hinge, you can technically remove this entire piece here, and then fix everything else. And then technically, you get a more accurate backpack. But considering that, I don't know, maybe this was intentional, but I don't think it was. But on the Earthrise version, this was technically intentional, and everyone hated it. So, the fact that all of this can be condensed into this one backpack here, honestly, I say it's pretty good. But I'm just going to leave this off for the time being, mostly for balance. So, yeah. So, articulation. Ball joint at the head can look up pretty far, can not really look down that far unless you untransform it. Shoulders are on a ball joint, can do a kind of full 360 until they bump into the shoulder pads here. Can go out that far. Bicep rotation, over 90 degrees and bend at the elbow, nothing at the wrist considering how thin this is. There's also an ab crunch thanks to the transformation, which is pretty nice. Waist rotation, legs can go forward that far and can go back pretty far. Can go out that far. Full knee swivel. Knees can bend over 90. Foot can tilt forward and backwards. And a pretty good ankle pivot. So, arguably out of the ones so far, she is the most articulate. Or articulated. So, yeah, so let's do a quick little size comparison. And then we will move on to Hot Rod. So, here is Blur, and here's Cup. So, these are the luxes of this entire group. So, not bad. Arguably, I say Arcee is the better out of all of them so far. So, let's move on. Okay, let's continue on with Hot Rod. And this was the first ever, this was the figure that got me back into this hobby. I kind of stopped after, well, Power of the Primes, and because of 2020, I couldn't really get any more, like, even though this guy, I think, released sometime during, like, 2020 or 2021 during that time, so during the one rare chance that I went out, I saw this guy, and I got him, and I fell in love. Like, this guy is so good. Then again, there are parts of this that hasn't aged all that well in some aspects compared to, like, others. But yeah, as you can see here, it's very nice. True, this little bit of yellow is it's unpainted, like plastic, I think, along with this yellow back here, so they're on the same mold. So that's why it can be painted like that, but hey, it's fine. It's something that kind of blends in for me at this point because I've had it for so long. But yeah, like, just look at how sleek this old mode is. I know it's meant to be the futuristic sports car, but like just, like, the 86 movie for me was the movie that got me into Transformers alongside the Beast Wars cartoon that I watched with my dad and with the Marvel Comics. So, just getting a new, like, a very good figure of one of my favorite characters from that movie. It's honestly really nice. Like, and honestly, having this flame detail, like, because this hood disappears into the robot mode chest right here, because this chest is meant to be this, that I think the original Masterpiece toy tried to take it very literally, instead of doing a fake chest up here, which I feel like works. But yeah, and also, because this guy is a Voyager, and, well, he's obviously not sized like a Voyager, he comes with a bunch of extra stuff to make up for it. He comes with his own little Matrix, comes with his own little Matrix blast effect, comes with 2 guns, a buzzsaw, and 2 blast effect pieces that specifically are meant to work in alt mode here. So you can have them just right here on the back pipes, make it look like he's going fast. You can also technically store all this stuff on the vehicle mode as well, but it looks very stupid. But I'm just going to do it just this once. because you can. So you can store them back here, like that, or I think up front to replicate the Target Master version, which we almost kind of got in, I think it was Velocitron, but unfortunately it was canceled. I don't know why it was canceled, but that kind of sucks because I would like a play version of this figure, because this one is pretty much on my display shelf 90% of the time. But anywho, so let's get all these blast effects off and all the accessories off to the side. Then we'll go into transformation. To start off with, bring this chest piece forward, fold in the headlights. Untab the arms from here and back here. And then you could fold this piece around, just like so. Fold the arm around, do the same thing on the other side, just like so. Fold all this up, fold the head out, rotate all of this around, close the panel right here, and then close all this, then we can close all this up, and then we have the entire upper body done. Now for the back, just pull this entire section here out, like so, on either side. Then we can pull the entire spoiler section up, flip it around, and tab it in to this hole right here. And there we have the spoiler section. Let's untab this, and then unfold it all around, fold the feet out, and then flip the entire wheel section in, and then tab it into place. Do the same thing on the other side. And there we go. And here we have Hot Rod in his robot mode. And honestly, again, this is a perfect Hot Rod. Though minor nitpick. Minor. He has the trigger half shoulders, which means that the hinge is inside the chest instead of on the outside. So instead of, like, for best example, let me raise the camera a little bit. Comparing this guy with Blur. You see his shoulder here? It moves outward from here. This guy's shoulder moves out from there. And also, while I have him in robot mode right here, let's do the quick size comparison. So, as you can see what I mean by him being a Voyager engineering, but a deluxe size. Which, annoyingly, again, this is a constant issue in this fandom, I swear to God. That just because a figure is smaller than it is at price, and considering it comes with a bunch of extra stuff, I feel like that still doesn't even validate the fact that it's a good figure. Like, I don't understand people sometimes, I swear. But yeah, quick size comparison. Okay, so yeah, this guy, really good figure. I could not stop messing with him when I first got him. But considering I got a whole bunch of other stuff as well to mess with that I also like, this guy has got on the back burner for me. But anywho. So, for articulation, he has a ball joint at the head. Also at the head, you can open his head and flip out a visor that he had in the movie. That's kind of cool. Shoulders can do a full 360 until they bump into the spoiler section. Arms can go out that far. There is a bicep swivel. A little bit over 90, bit over 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. There is a wrist rotation. Hands can open, which was kind of the start of opening hands on figures. No, I think this was the second figure to have opening hands on it, because I think Earthrise Optimus Prime also had them. So yeah, and also, his hands can do interesting things. If you open the panel up, do this, and on the other side, do the same thing, but as you can see, there's something different here. So, this port here is for his buzzsaw accessory. So, yeah, you can kind of spin. And this is for repairing Cup. So, if you want to reenact the scene of him fixing up Cup, then you can. As you can see. So, yeah. So let me flip this back around. So yeah, it's cool that he has those accessories. He also has a waist rotation. Legs can kick forward all the way that far, and can't really kick back that far, which kind of sucks. But also, it is kind of nice that they incorporate the essentially the crotch flap into the hip, meaning that you can get a lot more forward, and also a lot outwards. A thigh swivel over 90 degrees of bend at the knee, and also technically you get a double joint there. So if you want to ankle it, foot can go forward and backwards. And also has a pretty decent ankle pivot. So yeah, honestly, pretty good figure. So let's move on to, actually, I forgot to show off a few of this accessories beforehand. So here he has his like classic guns, which are both blast effect compatible with. You can use the same blast effects that he came with. And also, you can also use the wrist guns he has as blast effect compatibles, but then again, they're only really compatible with these ones here, so that's cool. And also, why is my camera doing this? Sorry. And also, one more accessory he has, and I almost forgot to mention, that being the Matrix, which nowadays these are pretty much dime a dozen, so you can actually hold it and then you can kind of perform the scene that this was used in with this character. So you can finally have him light our darkest hour, and also use this blast effect to get that same look he had in the movie. Just let me get that out of his eyes. There we go. So, again, you can have him lighting our darkest hour. So, let's move on to Springer, which is in his card mode. And also, one thing I almost forgot to do previously is compare him to Sandstorm's alt mode, which, yeah, I feel like that's something that this guy can get away with that he can't, is because both of his alt modes look too similar to each other. They both look good, while this guy has a little bit of junk back here that makes it look like, oh, this is a triple changer. Like, this is an alien space car, and that you can't really tell turns into a helicopter. So, yeah. So, let's continue on. Okay, start off with, let me remove these guns that I forgot we're back here. So, let's begin. So, to start off with, untap all of this back here. Take all of the legs forward and untab them from each other. Make sure these click into place. Fold. Actually, before you do that, open this panel up. Fold that in. Close that up. Fold the feet down. Do the same thing on the opposite side. There you have the entire leg section done. You can just pull this up. Move the camera up. There we go. Sorry, camera's just being weird again. So, untab the arms from everything. Bring them down to the side. Bring this entire paneling up. Rotate to the side. fold all this in, do the same thing on the opposite side. There we go. Untab all of this from right there. And then fold this down, fold all of this out. Fold the head out, rotate it around, bring it back down, and then fold the chest pieces in, and make sure that these tabs go into these slots here. After bringing all of this up and doing that, just tab in the arms to the side, just like so, and make sure all this collapses upward. And there we have Springer in his robot mode. And again, classic 80s fun. But then again, we run into the problem that that Hot Rod ran into, where this is technically a Voyager-sized figure being sold at leader class prices. And people are kind of divided on it. And if you have the original Springer, I say that's fine. But I do say if you don't have a Springer, hunt this guy down. He is very good. He is so much more accurate compared to the Siege version, in my opinion. And comes with a bunch of stuff that, while that the original version didn't have, but he also comes with the original version stuff. Like, it's mostly just the guns. And that's a remarkably better helicopter blade sword compared to those ones, which were very floppy out of the box, from what I understand, or very bent out of the box. So, yeah. So, again, all of this stuff can go store in their same spots. As I mentioned earlier, all of the ones with the tab like this can store here on these 3 tabs. Anything with a 5mm port can store down here or on the forearms, because there are also 5mm ports there. Or he can, well, hold them. So, yeah. So I'm just going to get all the accessories that we already know about out of the way, and do the ones that will be kind of important later. Kind of sort of just for display. But yeah, so he's honestly looking really good. He looks so good. Like, from what I understand, the thighs are new, the hands are new, these forearms are new, the shoulder bits here are new. Some of the internal armatures, I think, are not new, to my knowledge. But then again, everything from the knees upwards, it has new parts connected to it. It's just that the neck boots essentially don't. So, yeah. So, and also, a little gimmick he has in this arm here. So, fold this panel up, bring all this forward, bring this around, fold the hand out like this, and then you can pull out his little gun that he had for one scene of the movie, which is honestly pretty cute that they put this in. They could have just ignored it, but I'm kind of glad that they put it in. But yeah. So, let's get on to the articulation of this guy. So, to start off with, he has a ball joint at the head. You can't really get much side to side. It's really only rotation, unless you pull it up a little. Like, you can get some, like, head tilt out of it. And again, that's popping it off its ball joint. So, arms can't do a full 360 because, or well, actually, never mind. They can. It's just that you kind of have to force them past this joint here. Arms can go out that far. Can do a full bicep rotation. A little bit over 90 degrees of bend at the elbow. Wrist rotation. And hands can open, which is becoming a staple on most leader class figures. There is a waist rotation. Can't do a full 360 due to the armature here. Legs can go forward that far, can go back that far, can go out that far. Thigh rotation, way over 90 for at the knee. The ankles can go very far, thanks to transformation. And also, he has a forward and backwards, thanks to transformation as well. So, this is arguably, again, as I say, the best Springer we've gotten. So yeah, let me display him with one of his newer guns, which I think may be Ultra Magnus's guns. I could be wrong. Correct me in the comments. Speaking of which, like, comment, and subscribe. All this fun doodads. Continuing. So, and I can give him this sword that I think he only has for one scene. No, and I think that's for when he was fighting Wreck-Gar. And speaking of which, here is Wreck-Gar. So, as you can see, he is a bit... Oh, man, again. He's a little bit shorter than Wreck-Gar, who is, yes, a bigger Voyager. But also deciding to be very annoying at the moment. So, yeah. So, also, let's do some quick size comparisons. Here he is next to Hot Rod, Arcee, I was going to say Blur, but then again, everyone decided to fall down. And, as I say, Blur, and here is Cup. So far, honestly, these guys look really well together. So yeah, again, I do recommend, if you like the 86 movie, I honestly say try looking for these guys as much as you can, like, and get them for a good price. Don't go for scalpers. Scalpers suck. So yeah, let's get all these guys out of the way. Oops, sorry. Oh yeah, and also I forgot to show them off with this sword. So, a lot more of a broad sword compared to the short sword this is. So yeah, let's get... Also, here he is with his Wrecker's hammer. Even has the Wrecker's logo on it. In shape. Yeah. Oh yeah, actually. One last comparison that I almost forgot about. Here he is next to Sandstorm. So yeah. Most triple changers tend to be, at leader class prices, tend to be Voyager-sized figures with leader class mass, if that makes any sense. So, yeah. So, let's continue to the final bot of our video, that being Commander Class Rodimus Prime. The upgraded form of Hot Rod from the end of the movie, and he's a Space Winnebago. Or RV, whichever one you want to call him. Like, he is just that to a T. So, yeah. He also does come with some blast effects, but they are Omega Supreme's blast effects, but in blue. I don't understand why, but they're here. And this is probably going to be the last time you see them, because they're fine, but I barely use them. So yeah, as you can see, he's a pretty long truck, and as I've shown in comparisons, is one of the biggest in this video. So yeah, but the robot pretty much stops at around here-ish. So the rest of this is just the trailer, as you can see after I pull this down and forward. Like, this is the rest of the car, which is a very buff version of Hot Rod's original, like, alt mode, as you can see. It's because I think the original G1 toy literally just kind of cut here. Like, it was just here, flat. I think. I could be very wrong, because I haven't really seen the G1 toy all that much, nor have I experienced it. But yeah. But there are many places to store the blast effects, like right here, and back here. But then again, as you can see, there's stuff in there. So, let me close all this up, then open this all to the side. Also, make sure that these pieces go flat to the side as well, because they're on spring-loaded hinges. And then fold all this down. Well, actually, let me remove this tray first, because there's some stuff stored in here. We got a matrix effect piece and then 2 smoke effect pieces I forgot about. Remove them. That. Also a sword, which I think is meant to be the sword of Primus that was in the comics. correct me in the comments. But yeah, let me fold this up. His gun. Fold this back up. You can attach these to the side. Just like so. So, if you want that look. Also, I do like the fact that these little spring-loaded pieces connect to the pipes here, making that like little thing complete. Because I've seen third-party versions of Rodimus Prime, and I think there was a version that basically incorporated the trailer into the entire robot. I can't remember what it was called at the moment, but correct me in the comments, whatever it was. But yeah, you can also, I think, take these, plug them back here, kind of like how you could on the Studio Series version. His blast effects, but then again, I just tend to keep these guys in their little container tray with the rest of the trailer just opening up this platform, coming down, folding that down, and you can raise the entirety of this up, and then boom, there you have the battle station, essentially, which ain't too bad. We'll look at it a bit more once we get Rodimus Prime transformed. Once I stretch a little. Sorry, just pins and needles. There we go. That's better. So, yeah, some transformation steps of this guy are going to be very similar to his Studio Series counterpart, because I think they based some of it off of it. But then again, this is also just bigger. So to start off with, let's take these little sections here, move them back, and then lift all this up, rotate it around, just like so. And then here we have the feet, folding them out, folding the arms out. And then we can untab the legs, untab these panels from here. You can extend all this, compress the wheels, and then make sure to get the wheel well right here. Then you can fold this entire section around it, thus covering it up. You can do the same thing on the other side. Just like so. Rotate all this around. Untab the chest section here after you fold these little pieces in. Just like so. Bring all this down, rotate the arms upward, rotate it all around. You can collapse the arms in like so. There we go. And now we can collapse the chest in, making sure it kind of tabs. Like it's supposed to like tab in right here, but then again, it's also a bit fiddly. So, give me 1 second. Okay, got it. So, should be looking like this. Then you just tab the entirety of this section right there. Fold this all up, and now extend the arms like that. Extend them. You can pull out the wheel here. Collapse it in, tab it into the shoulder. Do the same thing on the other side. Now just fold this panel around. Fold this around. There we go. Do the same thing on the opposite side. And here we have Rodimus Prime in his robot mode. And he has like commander heft, in my opinion. Like, all the mass going into the right places, and honestly, I feel like it's kind of nice having its own self-contained car that doesn't need to rely on the rest of the battle station to essentially transform with him. So, yeah, honestly, unless he's falling over, it's really nice. So, you can have him either manning the battle station, as you can see here, like he did in, I think he did in the original cartoon. I don't know if he had, I know he had his, like, the car carrier, essentially, for his original mode, but, like, I don't know if he used it like this. Correct me in the comments, I have not seen all of G1. I've only seen distant clips and such. But yeah, and also, I gotta say, there are a lot of 5mm ports on this trailer. Like, if you didn't have this little cannon piece installed, I'm pretty sure you could store a lot of stuff in there. And yeah, and also this little cannon piece is technically separate. So, and also it's blast effect compatible. So, you can take the blast effects that come with it and put it in the barrels. Also, for some reason, you can also take this, like, port and tab, connect it to here, and do this, if you wanted. Like, that's an option. I don't know if I would ever do this again outside of this review, but, like, it's certainly interesting having, like, what is essentially a backpack cannon. Or, like, you can just rotate it around back here, you just have it be stored. Like, I don't understand why, but this is probably going to be staying in the trailer with this port out. So that way it can connect, and then also just rotates from side to side. But yeah. So, and that's pretty much all that the trailer does. Otherwise, it's just a box. So, yeah. I tend to use it as like a little display stand for him standing above all the other Autobots that he's leading. So, yeah. But anywho, let's get this guy out of the way and get on to articulation and also some of his other accessories. So, yeah. So, articulation for this bot. So to start off with, he has a ball joint at the head. He also has a movable neck, so you can look up a lot further. It's pretty nice. Also, look at that old man face. Yeesh. Hot Rod, what has the years done to you, and why has the Matrix made you this way? But yeah, so he has the same Hot Rod shoulders that he did on his 86 toy. So, beautiful rotation there. Also, something I forgot to mention actually, both on this guy and on the Voyager, there are butterfly joints, like in the same spot. So I guess if you wanted to hold the Matrix a little bit easier. He also has a double jointed elbow with the rotation of the thing being in the middle. So that's pretty awkward. He has hinges at the wrist, and also a full wrist rotation, and pinned fingers, so he can point. So yeah, just a knuckle and another knuckle. Same thing on the rest of the fingers, so if you want him doing, like, okay, then there you go. So yeah, he does also have a waist rotation. Legs can go forward that far, can go back that far. Legs can go out that far. There's a thigh rotation. Double jointed knees. Pretty good. Pretty decent ankle articulation. And then you can move the ankle forward very far. But yeah, that's pretty much all of his articulation, which is pretty good. So yeah, you can give him his sword, which just clips into his hands, and you can just wrap his fingers around it. Pretty nice. Or you can give him his gun. Let me just put his hand in a comfortable like holding position. Okay, and here we go. There we go. So, yeah, that's pretty nice. You can also technically two-wield it, like dual-wield it, kind of, sort of, but you can also just fold it up like this, and then stick it back here. And because of the port on this one as well, you can just store this across the back. Pretty nice storage. But yeah, for his final accessory, he has a matrix and a matrix chamber, which is pretty nice. And this matrix is technically a different mold from all the other ones because of the smaller little porthole, which is weird. But you can technically get him to hold it. Just let me get some finagling going. There we go. Like, I feel like it should have had, like, this would be the functioning matrix, that one that can go in his chest, while there is a display matrix, which is a lot bigger, because in the film, you could fit his entire, like, hand around where he's putting his, like, fingertips through. But that would be a bit too big for the chest cavity. So, yeah. And also, this matrix does come with a blast effect, which is this one. But do know this is hard plastic, so be very careful. So, you can have the other Light Our Darkest Hour scene. This guy, just let me, 1 second. Okay, I kind of got it working. So, that is arguably the best I've gotten it to fit in his hands pretty much ever. So, yeah. So, let's do a quick size comparison. Here he is next to Hot Rod, his previous incarnation. Here he is next to Springer. Come on, stand comfortably, please. Here he is next to Blur, next to Cup, Arcee, next to Wheelie, next to Spike / Daniel, next to Rekgar, which I'm probably putting over on the other side. And here he is next to Ultra Magnus. So, here you have pretty much your entire, like, good guy-centric Autobot crew. Just, there you go. Like, it's honestly nice having a complete set of these guys. But yeah. Also, here he is next to, I'm going to remove some bots, actually. There he is next to Galvatron. These guys are meant to be the new Optimus and Megatron of the group, of the show going forward. So, yeah. And here he is next to Scourge. And next to a dearly needed new version of Cyclonus. Like, yeesh. He just needs a new toy, in my opinion, or at least a re-release in 86. So, yeah. So, this has been my review for essentially one of the 86 Autobots. And, honestly, I am really happy that I managed to get all these guys. Like, this movie, I would say, has been my guilty pleasure, but, like, it's the movie that got me into this franchise. And if it wasn't for this channel wouldn't probably be here. So, thank you guys for watching this review. Like, comment, and subscribe. All those fun doodads. I'll have all the videos that all these other figures appeared in the links down below. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. And let me know, where do you think 86 can go from here? Because Honestly, I'm thinking they're starting to hit the end of the road, which kind of sucks, but hey, at some point, they're running out of characters. So, anyway, this has been me signing off. Peace.